The station's corridors hummed with the familiar thrum of artificial gravity generators, a sound that had become as natural to Alara as breathing. She had been assigned to Outpost Kepler 7 for 3 standard cycles now, serving as a xenobiological caretaker for the dozens of species that called this remote research station home. It was lonely work but necessary. Out here at the edge of charted space, someone needed to ensure that the young ones, the cubs, hatchlings, and spawn of 100 different worlds, were safe while their parents conducted humanity's endless research into the unknown. Tonight, something felt different. Alara stood in the doorway of her quarters, her hand hovering over the light panel. The soft amber glow cast long shadows across the sparse room. A bed, a desk cluttered with data pads, a small viewport showing the swirling colors of a nearby nebula. She frowned, tilting her head. There it was again. A sound, barely audible beneath the station's mechanical symphony. A whimper, perhaps, or the scratch of claws against metal. "Hello?" she called softly, stepping inside. Silence answered her, but Alara had learned long ago that silence could speak volumes, especially when it came from someone trying very hard to hide. She moved slowly, deliberately, keeping her movements calm and predictable. Panic was contagious among frightened creatures, regardless of how many legs or eyes they possessed. She knelt beside her bed, peering into the darkness beneath. 2 luminous eyes stared back at her. Alara's breath caught. The eyes were large, amber gold, and filled with a terror so raw it made her chest ache. They belonged to something small and furred, pressed as far back against the wall as physics would allow. "Hey there, little one," Alara whispered, lowering herself until she was lying flat on her stomach, face level with the darkness. "It's okay. You're safe here." The creature, a cub, she realized, recognizing the distinctive spotted pattern of a Velaran youngling, trembled violently. Its small body was covered in soft blue-gray fur that stood on end, making it appear twice its actual size. This was Kiru, she remembered, the daughter of Ambassador Thelkar, who had arrived on the station just 2 days ago for the Interspecies Summit. "Kiru," Alara said gently, letting the name roll off her tongue with careful pronunciation. "Your mother is looking for you. She's very worried." The cub's ears flattened against her skull and she pressed herself impossibly tighter against the wall. A low, keening sound emerged from her throat, the Valoran equivalent of sobbing. Alara's heart twisted. She had seen this before in countless species across the galaxy. Fear, pure, overwhelming fear, the kind that came from being small in a universe too large to comprehend. "I'm not going to hurt you," Alara continued, keeping her voice steady and warm. "And I'm not going to make you leave. Not until you're ready." She slowly pushed herself back up, giving the cub space. Kiru's eyes tracked her every movement, wide and unblinking. Alara sat on the edge of her bed thinking. The Valorans were a proud species, fierce warriors whose empire spanned 3 star systems. But their young were notoriously sensitive, prone to anxiety in unfamiliar environments. The station, with its strange smells and alien faces, must have been overwhelming for little Kiru. "You know," Alara said conversationally, as if speaking to an old friend, "when I was young, much younger than you are now, I used to hide under my bed too. There was a storm on my homeworld, Earth. Thunder and lightning, wind that howled like a living thing. I was so scared I couldn't move." She paused, listening. The whimpering had stopped. Kiru was listening. "My mother found me there, just like I found you. And do you know what she did?" Alara reached over to her desk, fingers finding the small control panel mounted on the wall. "She left a light on. Not a bright one. Just enough so I could see that there were no monsters in the shadows. Just me and the walls and the familiar things around me." Alara pressed a button and a soft, gentle glow filled the room. Not the harsh white of station lighting, but something warmer, amber like late afternoon sun filtered through clouds.
Like safety. Beneath the bed, she heard movement.
Small, cautious shuffling. "She told me that humans have been afraid of the dark for thousands of years." Alara continued, lying back on her bed and staring at the ceiling. "It's in our nature. We're not nocturnal creatures. We need light to feel safe, and there's no shame in that. Fear is just our body's way of trying to protect us. But," and here her voice grew firmer, more certain, "fear doesn't have to control us. We can acknowledge it, sit with it, and then choose to be brave anyway. That's what makes someone strong, Kiru. Not the absence of fear, but the choice to face it." Minutes passed. Ilara remained still, giving the cub time to process, to think, to decide. Then, so quietly she almost missed it, Kiru spoke. Her voice was small and tremulous, but unmistakably brave. The others, they laughed at me, called me weak. Ilara's jaw tightened. Then the others are fools who don't understand the first thing about strength. More silence. Then, you're not like the other humans. Oh? Ilara smiled at the ceiling. How so? You're softer, kinder. The others always seem so loud, so confident, like nothing scares them. Ilara laughed, a warm sound that filled the small room. Kiru, I'm going to tell you a secret about humans. We're scared of almost everything. Dying, being alone, not being good enough, making mistakes, losing the people we love. We're absolutely terrified all the time. She could sense the cub's confusion, could almost see the tilt of her small head. But here's the thing, Ilara continued. We decided a long time ago that being scared wasn't going to stop us. We were scared when we left our planet for the first time, scared when we met the first alien species, scared when we ventured into deep space. But we did it anyway. Not because we weren't afraid, but because there were things more important than our fear. Like what? Kiru's voice was closer now. Still beneath the bed, but nearer to the edge. Like kindness. Like curiosity. Like making sure scared cubs have a safe place to hide and a light to see by. Ilara rolled onto her side, letting one hand dangle off the edge of the bed. Like being there when someone needs us, even if we're not sure we can help. A soft weight touched her fingertips. Warm fur, a tiny paw. Ilara held perfectly still, barely breathing. Slowly, cautiously, Kiru crept forward. In the amber light, Ilara could finally see her clearly, a small creature no larger than a house cat, with delicate features and those enormous, expressive eyes. She was beautiful, and so very young. Can I stay here tonight? Kiru whispered. Of course, Ilara replied immediately. Stay as long as you need. The light will be on until morning. I promise. Kiru didn't emerge completely from beneath the bed, but she did settle there, her small body relaxing incrementally as the minutes ticked by. Eventually her breathing slowed and deepened. Sleep, finally claiming her. Ilara remained awake far longer, watching the gentle rise and fall of the cub's breathing in the soft light. Tomorrow she would contact Ambassador Thelkar. Tomorrow there would be explanations and apologies and perhaps a better understanding between their peoples. But tonight, a frightened child had found safety beneath a human's bed, and a light had been left on to chase away the dark. In a galaxy full of wonders and terrors, of vast empires and cosmic mysteries, sometimes it was the smallest acts of kindness that mattered most. That was the human way. Not fearlessness, but compassion. Not strength without weakness, but the choice to be gentle when the universe demanded hardness. As Ilara finally closed her eyes, one thought whispered through her mind. Perhaps that was humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos. Not their technology or their tenacity, but their stubborn insistence that even in the cold void of space, there was room for warmth, for light, for a safe place to hide when the universe became too much to bear. The amber light glowed softly through the night, a tiny sun holding back the infinite dark.